Welcome back to Emma Bean's Joy of Knitting with Gigi. I'm Gigi, and today I wanted to share with you 15 dream fall and winter knits. These are things that I am really excited about casting on. In my dream world, I would love to knit all of these this fall and winter. If you have followed me, you know that I live here in Vegas, Nevada, which the climate is still very warm. When it gets under 100, we start saying the fall is in the air, which is weird. As a young child, I lived in Hawaii, and then we moved to Southern California, where I lived for 35 years. So I grew up there, got married in Southern California, had children, all 4 of my children there. And then lived in Utah for 7 years, where my mother was ailing, and we lived there to try and help her. Then we moved to Boston, Massachusetts, and lived there for 7 years. We lived in Tampa, Florida for 3.5, and now we're here in Las Vegas. If you follow me, you'll know that my husband works in the NFL, and we are now with the Las Vegas Raiders. With that said, the season has started. On Sunday is season opener game for us. My husband is currently in New England, so he gets to visit our oldest daughter who's still out there, and I'm gonna play the Patriots. So since I live in Las Vegas, I really don't knit a lot of hats or mittens or scarves because I don't really have a need for it anymore. I will knit them occasionally as gifts for my children who live in colder climates, but for myself, no. So I kind of stick to shawls and sweaters. I have knit cowls, but I don't traditionally wear them because they are tight against my neck, and it does get cold here, cold-ish. Okay, I'm just gonna say cold-ish. For those of you in the northern climates, I'm not even gonna say the word cold because it doesn't exist for me, comparatively speaking. But I stick to sweaters and I stick to shawls because shawls to me, I didn't used to knit them very much. I didn't see the appeal, and then I did one and I'm hooked. Shawls are beautiful. I'm learning lace, I'm learning mosaic. It gives you an opportunity to do a whole bunch of different techniques that for me, I would say I am a hybrid knitter. I'm part process knitter and part product knitter. So I love the process. There is generally a point where I get, almost always, when you join in the round under the arms, once you've done your yoke work, and then you join in the round, and more often than not, you're just knitting stockinette in the round, and yeah, it gets to be a bit of a slog, a little bit boring, but that's when I've got to get through this so I can get this off my needles and block it and wear this thing that I've worked so hard on. Process, yes, but then also product. Okay, first off, I just want to say this is not a traditional podcast because we're going to be talking about these fall and winter knits, but I did want to show you what I'm wearing. So I'm going to stop the camera for a bit, back it up so you can actually see what I have on. Okay, here we go. I'm going to lean in a little bit. I have the Winter's Beach Cardi that I have just finished. I just got it off my needles and off the mats yesterday. So I will stick a B-roll in here that will show you what it looked like before blocking. There's not a whole bunch of difference, but it just relaxed everything, made it really soft, and I don't have that weird hump in the back that you'll see when you look at that. So I'm really excited about it. This is my friend Carmen's yarn that she dyed. It is her Tweety fingering, so I held it double. And I think it's gorgeous. And if you want, I will actually put up a couple of pictures of close-ups of what it looked like. If you follow me on Instagram, which is Emma Bean Knitting, you'll be able to see I have a reel that I did of the progress of the whole cardi. And I had that on my needles for 22 days. So all the projects I've picked are things that I personally like. This is all obviously my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. You may love some of these things. You may think, not for me, but that's okay. That's why this community is so amazing, because we get to knit what we like. We get to modify it in the way we like. We get to pick the colors that we want and the yarns that we want. And we get to experiment and use our creative juices to inspire us and motivate us to make beautiful things. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to give you some ideas of things that I want to knit. I hope you like some of them. So if you're so inclined, grab a cup of coffee. For me, it would be iced coffee or some tea, and let's get cozy. Let's start with shawls. This is perfect for Las Vegas evenings when it's a little cooler and all those air-conditioned spaces that they make it so freezing that you can't stand being in there. So first is the Sundial Wrap by Wool and Pine. Now, if you see me looking down, it's because I have my computer here. This knit I have knit before. It is an amazing bias knit wrap using mosaic knitting. And I will show you, I have knit this before. I used my Advent. Let me get this up close. Actually, I'm going to do this lower part is just spectacular. So this in and of itself was so fun to knit, and I just loved it. I put little pom-poms on each of the ends. The only thing is it's fun to wrap it around yourself if you want. It's quite large, see? But so it was great when I went to England. I spent a month there this year with my husband while he was working. So it is cushy and soft. The Advent yarn was 24 mini skeins. The only thing that I learned for this one is when you're using variegated yarn, it doesn't always pop the way it should in this mosaic knit. When you see the picture here and the way it's supposed to look, there are some sections that I wish I got more contrast. So this time around, I have chosen something a little bit different. This knit I've actually already put on my needles, just barely. It's only been on there a day. So this is going to be my main color. And the way you work it is, let's call this color B. This is not the new color, this is the second color. So you cast on with that, and I'll show you here. You cast on with your color B, and then you start your new color. And you read the chart, and your new color is the dark, and your old color, let's put that in quotes, your old color is the dark one here. And anyway, the chart reads that you do this for 18 rows, and then you add a new color in, and your new color here becomes your old color in the chart, and you redo the chart again. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to figure it out and make sure I'm doing it correctly, but I'm always going to be using this as a color throughout the whole thing. I got some minis from Emma's, and I will show you inside here. These are the ones that I'm going to be using. Oh, you know what? Let's take them out. There we go. So I'm using all of these. I love them because they have a fall flare to them. So I think it's going to end up being really pretty. With the dark charcoal, it just gives it a moody look. So I'm liking that. I'm doing a little bit something different. I'm actually, let me take this off. Whew, it's hot. I'm actually doing it in a long rectangle. So what I did was I went over to the Sundial Tea, which is another knit that they have, and I looked at the chart there. That chart is a repeat of 10 stitches, and then you have 2 stitches on each side for 14. So I just calculated that out and added 3 stitches on each side to do an I-cord edge on either side. And I referenced the Sophie hood, which is something that I knit in the winter for my daughter. So mixing things up, making it just a rectangle. I think I'm going to do tassels on the short ends. We'll see how it goes. But I'm really excited to see the difference between the one that I knit originally and this new one. I did choose this one first because I wanted to redo it. I wanted to see how it would look. But I also chose it because it's new as far as a technique. Mosaic knitting is actually very easy. It looks like color work, but it's really just slip stitches. And that's what I like about it. It's engaging and interesting, but it's not so complicated that you can't pay attention to somebody else who's in the room, or if you're watching a show or a YouTube video, something like that. It's fairly easy to keep going and pay attention so you don't mess up. The other reason I chose it is that it's perfect for stash busting. If you have little scraps of yarn, I think you only need about 14 grams per color, so it's really not a ton. If you have a set of mini skeins that you don't know what to do with, or advent yarn, it's perfect for those things. For me, anything I can do to stash bust is really good. Because I just came back from Flock and I bought a crap ton of yarn, I'm really trying to have all of these projects come from my stash. So we'll see how good I am at that. The next shawl is the Ishbel by Isolde Teague. This shawl, I don't know if anyone's heard of it. I had never heard of it, but when I got on Ravelry to look for a pattern where I could use two specific yarns that I had in my stash, this one came up. This has been the most made shawl on Ravelry. 14,000 projects. Can you believe that? When you start going through all everybody has done, it's amazing. And there's 4 different sizes. So small, medium, large, and extra large. And the small can be a cute little scarf. You can have just a midi kind of shawl to go over your shoulders, or you can have a much larger shawl. And I love that. I had this yarn, and I will show it to you. So this one is already on my needles. I bought this yarn in Nova Scotia when I was on my Grocery Girls cruise last fall. And this yarn, so Vincent Williams, who is a knit and crochet designer, he is on Instagram as Vesuvius Knits. He was with us and we both saw there were 2 skeins. There was this one, that is the blue, and then there was this fabulous red, and we both ran over to it, and I went for the blue and he went for the red. He's thinking of a hair wrap thing for himself. I'm still waiting for him to do that because it's going to be amazing. But let me see if I can get a real close-up of this. Look at the haze on it. It is the softest yarn. And I will look, let's see, here it is. So this is called Handmaiden Fine Yarn. And it is 67% silk, 23% fine kid mohair, and 10% nylon. And it is spectacular. I love knitting with this. It's a very simple design in that it starts off small and it grows as you at each row. And so it's mostly a stockinette with a center spine that has yarn overs on either side. And then along the edges, we have this yarn over opening. You have 3 stitches and then a yarn over. So it's going to be beautiful. After you're done with that part of it, you go to charting more of a lace. And I'm deciding, because I'm playing a little bit of yarn chicken with this, I have 300 meters of this, and then I have 200 meters of this art yarn. This is mohair. It is built in with beads and sequins, okay? So the 2 of these together, this is going to be the edging that you see right there that has the fan motif. And I only have 200 yards of this. I'm trying to get the large, but I don't have quite enough. I'm about 50 meters short, supposedly, according to, but you never know how it goes, right? When you do this, it's probably going to be between a medium and a large when we get this figured out. But very excited. This actually is a project I'm taking with me to Ireland because it's easy to knit in all scenarios. I think I'm going to take probably 2, maybe 3 projects with me. Yeah. I'm definitely taking the Sundial shawl, and I will be taking the Ishbel. So I chose this one because it's a simple lace pattern. It's very easy to learn if you have never done lace work. Plus, the yarn itself is just spectacular, and there's so much inspiration on Ravelry because there's 14,000 people who've made this shawl. So that is number 2. Third on the list is Autumn Stripes by Tracy Miller. This is such a cozy cowl. I was so excited when she released it because it features 7 different stitch patterns and 3 colors. Here's the colors that I'm going to use. I'm using Magpie Fibers Swanky Sock in Bougie Beaver, Dream Beaver, and Spicy Beaver. Does that not just scream fall to you? It does. I love it. Plus, you know what? I just love Tracy and Jody. They're awesome. I am going with 3 of my friends on their Portugal river cruise in March, so I wanted to have something of hers that I knit to show for it. I chose this because it's like a sampler. You have lace, you have cables, you have mosaic, you have stripes. It's a little bit of everything. So the techniques used are wonderful if you've never done any of these things because it's a small enough project that it doesn't feel overwhelming. You can learn something new if you want to. And in addition to that, it could be a stash bus because it's a cowl, so it doesn't use a ton of yarn, which would be amazing. And what is it perfect for? Keeping things interesting so you don't get bored because you're constantly doing something different. Plus, it's actually a really beautiful cowl. Next is Celtic Leaves by Judy Furlong. This shawl took my breath away. It is a rectangular shawl. It is knit from the short side just all the way down. It combines some really classic, beautiful patterning, and I love how it's beautiful from both sides. So there is cabling, there is lace. It's worked sideways, which makes it easy to be on your needles. There are box pleats on the end of this. I started it probably 10 years ago, 10, maybe 15, I didn't know what I was doing. I was not a very good knitter, and I managed to do those box pleats. It took a long time because you're taking a whole bunch of stitches and then you're combining them together, pleating them, and then finally you get a product that's that wide. So you have to be patient at the beginning, but it is so interesting to knit. The recommended yarn, which is what I got for that, and I don't know which color I'm going to do yet. I would say I've moved probably 10 times since that thing was cast on, so I don't know where the original was. I had only knit maybe this much of it, so wasn't a lot, but I went back online. This is Zelana Kiwi. Let's see if I can, yep, there we go. Zelana Kiwi. And this color is Storm Blue. And then this one is called Beach. So I don't know which one I'm leaning towards to do that in. That is going to be a labor of love. I have a couple of labors of love that I am thinking about doing over this next year. We will see. And when I do decide and I get this cast on, you can follow along with me here. You can follow along with me on Instagram if you wish. I'm really excited about this. This is going, if you decide to knit this you will be so impressed with yourself by the time you're done. I think I'm going to be so happy that I actually finished it, and I hope it's as beautiful as it looks right here, because this is, yeah, it's beautiful. What can I say? It is an older pattern, so it's been around for quite a long time. Sometimes those patterns, you don't always have to knit the newest, greatest thing. Sometimes it's nice to go back to do something unique that's still classic and beautiful. My final knit in this section is called Gradient Descent by Max Cyr, or Max the Knitter. He is also one of the owners of Les Garçons in Montreal, the yarn shop, and they have the most amazing yarns there. But this shawl is a triangular fade shawl, as you can see here, and it uses solid colors to create a pixel effect. So if any of you have mini skeins in a fade, this is the project for you. This is what I have, and I will show you here. This is Fiber Fox's Advent from, I believe it was last year, and it's a fade. So we go from this, hold on, to this. I will put up a picture of somebody from Instagram who made, it was a fade outfit, and it started with a sweater and it went all the way down to this long maxi skirt. It is stunning. I think this shawl by Max would be beautiful in a fade like this. That is the reason I'm using it, because I needed something that was in my stash. Now let's dive into sweaters. My favorite thing to knit. The first sweater is called the Rosie Sweater by Lynette, or Lene Home. I'm going to say it Samso. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. It is a beautiful top-down sweater with a rose-colored border, two of them that go across the body and the sleeves. And I'm actually, the moment I saw this sweater, I thought to myself, I have to knit this. This is so beautiful. And I ran to my stash closet and I actually found the same colors. So let me show you what I have. So the main color, this is Moonshine Fine. It's baby alpaca with organic silk. And this is Juniper Moons with a cream. And I'm going to hold it with La Bien Amise Surrey. Is this her Surrey silk? Let's see. It's called Little Kumo. Little Kumo. Yes, it is her Surrey silk in the color Blanc. So I'm going to hold these two together, and I picked this up at Southern California Fiber Arts Festival last year. Okay, I have to put on my glasses because I can't see. I believe this is Anzula. This is their Linares fingering sock yarn. It's hand dyed and it has stellina in it. So I'm going to move that so you can see, hopefully you can see some of that sparkle. So I'm going to have that, and I'm holding it with some Knitting for Olive mohair that I had. In addition, as I knit up, and let me give you, this is my sample. I did a little bit of color work so I could also check the gauge. As I did this, I noticed that the Stellaris in the brown, once you add the mohair, it just, the sparkle kind of goes away. And I know that this sparkle is subtle, but I happen to have from the Crafty Jackalope, Amanda over the Crafty Jackalope, I happen to have a couple of these. And they're just, it's just a thread of gold. And I think I've decided to hold it throughout the whole thing. So we're gonna have just a little bit of sparkle throughout this all the way. The Rosie Sweater is stranded color work. It has a drop shoulder and raglan sleeve. It's going to be beautiful, and it's probably one of the first things I'm going to cast on for this fall. Next sweater is called The Wanderer, another design by Max the Knitter, one of my favorite people. This is a circular yoke sweater with custom gradient color work. I chose it because it's perfect for playing with color and creating your own gradient. It allows you to be a little bit creative, and I am so excited to see the projects and see what everybody else does with this. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with it, but it's definitely on my list to put on my needles. It is such a beautiful color work. It's very non-traditional when I look at it. It has a contemporary modern look to it, which that's what I really am drawn to. So I really like that. So that's the reason I picked this one. I think the Wanderer is just a spectacular design. I believe it's knit in a sport weight, so it will go a little bit faster than fingering. For me, I tend to knit in fingering weight just because Vegas tends to be so hot. So sport weight, and DK is the thickest I will do. So I think a sport weight, it should go faster than obviously a fingering, and it is just beautiful. Next one is the Rivendell pullover by Sari Nordland. And that one is a relaxed fit pullover with dropped shoulders. Oh my gosh, and this beautiful cable, and it's a V-neck. Now for me, I will wear crew necks. I have no problem with that. But because I tend to be busty, oh my gosh, because I am busty, V-necks look better on me. I'm going to say that. It makes me look less top heavy if I'm wearing a V-neck because it opens this area up a little bit, and your eye's drawn more up here than down there. With that said, we're just going to be honest here. This is not kid appropriate. We have to just talk about what's real. My issue is the bust. I chose this because the cable pattern along the V-neck is so elegant. I absolutely love that. It is beginner friendly. That to me says a lot because I actually have a friend who's never done a top-down raglan, and that to me is something that she could accomplish in her first try at a sweater. This uses a DK weight with a lovely drape to it. So that is the Rivendell pullover by Sari Nordland. Next is the Norma Sweater by My Favorite Things. Now I'm going to put the glasses back on because I need to read these labels. I am knitting this in the Lamb & Kids Elmer, which is heavy fingering sport. This originally is done in a worsted weight, so based on the gauge I get with these. But I'm holding it with, to make it a little bit thicker, Les Garçons. It's called Meredith's Gray. This is their mohair. So this is the main color. The secondary color is also Elmer, and I'm holding this with Farmer Daughter Fiber. This is the color Legend, and this is the Mighty Mo. So this is their mohair. I had this mohair in my stash, and then this one. And I just picked up a ball of extra mohair that I had in my stash. I'm going to hold those three together. So I can show you. Here we go. That's what it's going to look like. I will put the picture up. They did have one knit up at Lamb & Kid for inspiration, so I will put that up here so you can see that. That's the one I'm going to knit. It is a classic raglan, top down, very oversized. One of the things that a lot of the people in Ravelry put in the notes was that they actually joined in the round sooner than it said in the pattern, because otherwise the sleeve, the opening is way down here. So I think most people said they joined in the round after the third stripe, and that felt a little bit better for them. I will say, having looked at the knit version, the sample that was in Lamb & Kid, it is very oversized. So I may actually go with a size 2. I'm normally a medium or size 3, but I think the 2 will work. I'll have to see what the gauge comes out to be. But that one, it's just a classic, cozy, oversized, top-down raglan. And it can't go wrong. And it's stripes, so it makes it interesting. I love that. Again, worsted weight. She does have a Norma 2, which has a different weight that you can use. My girlfriend Carmen just knit up some, she's calling it Fat Fluff, PHAT, which is a DK weight Surrey silk. And I'm going to knit a second one in that, and I wanted pink as the main color, and then chocolate brown and a cream. Here's a picture of what she's knit up. Now I'm looking at it and I don't know what I want the main color to be. Should I have cream the main color with brown and pink? The pink is the stripe. Should I have brown as the main color with that cream? And there's so many color combinations that you can do. So let me know what you think down in the comments. I would love to hear from you about that one. That one's going to be so fun to knit up. And she actually did one in purple, pink, and lime, like electric lime green. I'm so excited to see that finished. I will be seeing her early October at a fiber festival up in Northern California that she's going to be vending at. Anyway, it's called Lamb Stock. Let me see. Lambtown. So I'm going to Lambtown Festival where she's vending, and I'll spend the weekend with her. So Norma Sweater, buy my favorite things. Just going to keep the glasses on, friends, because you get the LASIK surgery, it goes bad. So now I wear contacts for distance and I have to wear readers for up close. So I've always had to wear glasses because I was farsighted, but here we are, pushing 60, and that's just life. So I will keep the glasses on. The next sweater is the Larkspur by another wool and pine design. Isn't it interesting how we all tend to gravitate kind of to, not all together, but I tend to gravitate towards certain designers. Other people gravitate in, and you have a collective. Every once in a while, I'll go outside of what I normally do and knit something a little from a different designer, someone I discover, somebody tells me about. That's the beauty of it. So this is another wool and pine. I saw this knit up at Flock and I had to grab this yarn. So this is Yarn Nouveau. There we go. That's Yarn Nouveau. This is their single yak merino. So it's 65% superwash merino wool, 20% silk, 15% yak. And it is squishy soft. This is the colorway Finch that I'm going to knit it up in. There's another colorway called Mold Cider that is a really deep wine Merlot color. I don't know what I may actually knit it with that color instead, but I think I'm going to stick to this one. It is drapey, it is elegant, it is beautiful, it's lightweight because of what we're knitting it with. Let's see here. So for me, it's the combination of the structure and the fluid drape that really give it that certain je ne sais quoi. I don't know how else to explain it. It's luscious to look at, it's fabulous. I'm imagining to wear. I held it up on the hanger. The thing I love about going to festivals is that I'm able to gain inspiration by looking at the samples of all of the different knits, and it really inspires me. That's how I keep the creative juices flowing for me and get motivation for what it is that I want to put on my needles next. So Larkspur, it does have some cabling. It has a boat neck shaping, and it is a top-down construction. It is finger weight for beautiful stitch definition. Again, finger weight, you have to be okay with it, and I am. I guess I'm a fast knitter. I don't know. Maybe I just have a lot of time to knit. I don't know exactly how it all works, but yeah, I can do a finger weight sweater probably 2 or 3 months. And that's with, it's not singular. It's not the only thing on my needles. I am not a monogamous knitter. I am definitely polyamorous when it comes to knitting. I usually have anywhere from 4 to 6 things on my needles at any given time because I get bored and then I just want something else. And I'll knit that for a while. And any given day, I might knit on 2 or 3 different projects. But very rarely will you see me, even out in the wild, without something on my needles, without my hands moving and me knitting. Next sweater is Antique Flora by Wool and Pine. This is a colorwork pullover knit from the top down with a vintage damask motif. I chose it because The marling techniques, I'm not going to do the marling technique. I'm using a spin cycle yarn for the color work, which will give it a lot of color changing. However, if you wanted to do stranded color work and you wanted to marl the yarns together to give it a more interesting effect on the color work, it would be beautiful. It is a round yoke. There's 2 fingering weights marled together. So I'm doing it with a sport weight. This is by Yarn Nouveau, held with a Surrey silk. And then the color work is called Comfort Zone. I caked up all of these. They are the exact same, and they looked pretty much the same on the skeins, but look at how different every one of them ended up. You could do a center pull, or you can pull from the outside based on what color you wanted first. I think these 2 are a little bit more vibrant, so I'm going with these 2. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That will be interesting if you ask me. I'm really excited about this one. The next sweater is Room to Bloom sweater by Veronica Lindberg. And it is a oversized pullover with embroidered features. I've never embroidered before. I think this is the perfect sweater to try that on. I think you could pick whatever colors you want. You could even add to the embroidery and go around to the back side if you wanted. If you didn't want to do as much, if you just wanted to do one down in the corner. There are just so many possibilities with this one. I just think it's very feminine and whimsical and fun. In fact, I actually thought, wouldn't it be cool to do the sweater and then find a pair of jeans and do the matching embroidery, like maybe down one leg or down on the bottom, or how the new trend is the really large rolled up cuff that's like this big. Maybe do some on the cuff and going over to where the jean, where they meet. That would be really cute, I think. So this one has a lot of possibilities. Next is the Knitonomy Pearl Sweater by Magdalena Parker. Oh my goodness. Sometimes you wonder, what is wrong? Your tongue gets so tied. This sweater I first saw when AKA Nora Knits was test knitting. So this sweater just spoke to me. I love the purling section of these cables. It does truly look like a pearl necklace that's been woven down the whole structure of the sweater. Next sweater that I'm going to be knitting is the Rib Wave by Joanna Eng. This is a boat neck pullover with wave-like ribbing details, and it has it on the sleeves. That's what sold me. The fact that it's on the sleeves. It's spectacular. I'm going to be holding it with I'm going to be knitting this in a pale blue, held with a light blue mohair. I have the yarn. It's upstairs, but it's going to be really beautiful. Oh, I have the sample here, my swatch. Let me show you. Here it is. So this is the sample. I am loving this. It is absolutely beautiful. It is so soft. And the fact that this design is on the sleeves, on the bottom of the sleeves. I saw somebody was knitting it at a table that I sat at in a retreat in Kansas City in March that I went to, and it just caught my eye. It was beautiful. So that is the one I'm going to be knitting. Rib Wave by Joanna. This final sweater, I actually went looking for my youngest daughter. So I leave on September 8th for Ireland for a 10-day land tour, a knitting tour. And I asked my daughter if she wanted me to bring her back a sweater. So my 2 daughters and I went to Scotland 2 years ago, coming this October. And she wanted an oversized cable knit sweater, and the wool was just too itchy for her skin. So she asked me, is there any way you can knit me something that doesn't itch my skin? And I told her, sure, no problem. So I'm going to use a Drops Air, which is very soft and very light, and she wants it really oversized. So I'm going to knit probably 1 or 2 sizes larger than I normally would for her size. And this sweater is called Stars Hot Pullover by Sari Nordland. And My daughter and I are Gilmore Girls fans. We have had multiple discussions, and I won't tell you whether they're good or bad about the characters or anything, but we have watched Gilmore Girls together. And so this one is named after Stars Hollow. I love the cabling on this sweater. Sari is I would say that lace work and cabling is her jam. That's what she is just fabulous at. That is what she likes. I'm so glad that cabling and texturing is currently in fashion. And so this has a double moss stitch, which I just finished doing with my Winter's Beach Cardi. So that's what I love about this. It's beautiful. It's perfect for those cozy Gilmore Girl vibes. And I can hardly wait to knit this for Katie. It is a seamless top-down construction, and she uses Aran weight yarn. So I think I can get away with the drops air using a little bit larger needle. It's going to be spectacular. Before I started color work, I was actually afraid of color work. I did not know how to do it. I tried it once. It didn't work for me. It was really hard. So I stuck to one color and textures. So cables don't bother me. Texture stitches don't bother me. They're easy for me to do. But I'll tell you, she's going to be really excited when she sees this one. And there you have it. My 15 dream fall and winter knits. 5 beautiful shawls and cowls and 10 amazing sweaters. A lot of them I already have the yarn for, so I'm going to be doing a lot of stash busting. And to be honest, by the time I get to spring and summer, I have 2 things on the needles that are still for spring and summer that I've tucked away. And I have 3 or 4 knits that are already planned. I have the yarn, they're in a box with, I labeled it with what pattern it's going to be knit with. In addition, for this fall, I forgot, I have a sweater that I used Max and Vincent's marled yarn, Le Garçon's yarn, for my husband. And the body's all done. I just need to do the sleeves. So I have to pull that out. He's been in timeout. And my husband thinks that's a really funny term. But I told him, I said, you're not going to wear it in the summertime. So the heat will break here probably mid-October. By mid-October, it'll finally get down into the 40s at night, and it'll be cooler in the day. The different climates that I visit, knitting festivals, knitting tours, knitting cruises, all those things that I love to go on and experience. There is nothing more beautiful than having a gorgeous hand knit on a chilly airplane or out in the evening when it's cold. Interestingly, I've had a number of people here in Las Vegas, as I've been going through a casino to go to dinner somewhere, stop me and ask me where my sweater was from. It was gorgeous. And I thought, oh, I knit it myself. Thank you very much. So it's fun when people catch you in the wild and are complimentary about your knits. I'm especially excited about the mosaic knitting, all the new techniques, the cabling, the lace. Which one do you like? Which one might you be interested in? What caught your eye? Are you planning any ambitious knitting lists this season? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know what you think about the questions I had about the things I'm deciding on that I'm not particularly sold on yet as far as colors. I love to have other people's input. It really helps when you're knitting. Don't forget to like this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. You can get notifications every time I put up a new video. I appreciate you following along. It means the absolute world for me, and I would love, love, love to hear your comments because it means so much to me. This is really why I'm doing this, is to build a community of people. I really want people that love knitting and are passionate about it as much as I am. And I really hope that you've enjoyed coming along this journey with me today. I'm heading to Ireland in a couple of days. I will take videos and hopefully put up a vlog of it when I get back. If you're interested in following along, I will be putting up reels every day. You can follow me along on Instagram right here. I'll be sharing my progress on all these projects throughout the season, both here and on Instagram. You can find me there. And don't forget to put joy in every stitch. Happy knitting, everyone. Bye for now.